What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if it's your first time here. Today's video topic is going to be, why isn't everyone a prepper? But first I'm going to show you all my raised beds over here, then I'm going to take you all and show you my new chicks. Okay, here's the raised beds. I showed you all these in another video before I had these completely finished. They're finished now and ready for planting. As you can see, I already have the first two beds planted. This is tomato plants, and over here is two tomato plants at the end over there, and the rest are peppers. I'll have the other two beds planted by tomorrow evening. This is 20 inches deep. The lumber is 2 by 10 lumber, and I have 4x4 center pieces for make them more make them stronger at the corners. And this is a lot of dirt in these 4 beds. I actually made a video when they were delivering this dirt, and this is a complete truckload of topsoil. And I still lacked about 6 inches at the top of these beds, filling these beds all the way full with that truckload. You can see I had the topsoil over there, and you can see it's all gone now, and it's all in these beds. And I moved that all that topsoil by hand, and I still like I said, about 6 inches from the top in these beds. And then I took and bought some of the raised bed soil at the Tractor Supply and added that as a top layer. So I'll have about 2 to 3 inches of the commercial raised bed soil from Tractor Supply on top of the topsoil. I also mixed in compost in with that, and at the bottom I put leaves at the bottom of these beds, all 4 beds. And then I also added, some sticks and some logs and things, so those will rot and decompose. And as it does that, it will help build the nutrients of this soil, and hopefully will make these plants grow even better. It also helps hold moisture, and that's also a good thing. You can see I added these hoops, and these are made from 1/2 inch PVC pipe, and I used these, and I bought these brackets. You can see these are 3/4 inch brackets on each end, and these aren't permanent. You can move these out as needed, and that will allow me to put plastic over top of these, in case it's going to frost or something like that, or a cold snap comes in the springtime. You can put plastic over those to make like a quick improvised greenhouse. You can also put netting over this to keep out, birds and things. Like you sow seed, you don't want birds to get in your nest and dig those seeds up. So you can put netting over top of these. You can put plastic over top of these, like I said. So it works out great, and it makes them it makes the beds much more proficient, because you can actually use these and put plastic over top of these and make these into mini greenhouses, and actually start the growing season a little bit early, and you can actually extend that growing season also. I have room for 2 more of these beds this size. These are 4 foot by 8 foot. I have room for at least 2 more here, maybe 3, and I'll put those in at the end of the year. You can grow a lot of produce in raised beds, because you can plant the plants closer together. As you can see how close these plants are. This will be just one big growth of tomatoes and peppers in this area here, so you can grow more in a smaller space because everything is more compact. And also with these raised beds, and especially where I am here in Tennessee, sometimes you can actually get 2 or 3 harvests depending on the type of plants that you grow in these raised beds. The plants you have can grow, mature, harvest, and then replant these beds to get another crop off at the end of the year. Okay, now let's go take a look at the chicks. I actually bought two different groups at different times, about 2 weeks apart. So I have one group that is a little bit larger, and those are the Rhode Island Reds. Then I bought 5 Wyandottes and 5 White Leghorns. The Rhode Island Reds, they were a straight run, so I'll have roosters and hens in that group. And the White Leghorns and the Wyandottes were sexed, so they should be all female. Hopefully the light in here will be sufficient. We can see Yeah, looks pretty good, the light does. You can see those over there are Rhode Island Reds, and that one white leghorn over there, as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than the Rhode Island Reds. Another Rhode Island Red on top of the concrete blocks, white leghorns. And over there you can see grouped in that group of 5 over there are the Wyandottes. Total 20, and when these get a little bit larger, I'm gonna move these down. Probably in about 3 months, I'll move these down to the main chicken coop. Look at that one coming through that concrete block, the center of it. What you doing, Rusty? What you doing, bud? What you doing, bud? What you doing, Rusty? What you doing, Rusty? Rusty. What you doing, Rusty? What you doing, Rusty? Rusty. What you doing, bud? What you doing, Rusty? Okay guys, now let's get on with today's video topic, and that is, why is everyone a prepper? I can look around and I can see things happening, and it is amazing to me that everyone else can't look around and see the same things happening, because it is so blatantly in your face obvious what's going on in the world, and it is so obvious where everything is going. And still, the vast majority of people refuse to prep. And it doesn't make any sense. If you've been paying any attention at all to the news, to anything, and it becomes obvious that people should be prepping. However, most people completely refuse to prep and turn a blind eye to prepping altogether. And you know, even most Christians refuse to prep. They go to church, they pay their tithes, they sing their hymns, they listen to the pastor preach, they read their Bible, but when it comes to prepping, they completely turn a blind eye. Even though the Bible clearly has examples of God telling his people to prep, of the need to prep, you know, disasters all through the Bible, famine, things happen all through the Bible to suggest that we all should prep. And they can even read, you know, the book of Revelation, where it talks about the famine, the turmoil, the Antichrist, the mark of the beast. They can read that, and everything is right there, and they still don't prep. They turn a blind eye. It doesn't make any sense. They can look at history, and for example, the Great Depression. They can look at different countries where, you know, they've had economic collapse, war, turmoil, like Zimbabwe, Argentina, and they still refuse to prep. They can see natural disasters happen all the time. They can see things like the national debt. They can see things like a tyrannical government that is clawing in and taking more control all the time. And they can see, it should be obvious to anyone, should be able to see that hyperinflation is coming. They can see the prices increasing. And still, people refuse to prep. And if you try to talk to those people about prepping, about the need to prep, they will actually get, they will actually get hostile towards you. They will actually take a offensive stance against you and try to push back if you even bring up the thoughts and the suggestion that things could actually turn to shit quickly. They fail to see, even though they have eyes to see. It doesn't make any sense, guys, to me at all, why anyone doesn't prep and why everyone is a prepper. There's so much information out there, there's so many things happening, and it's so blatantly obvious to anyone who is paying any attention at all, who isn't completely asleep, where everything is going. And still, people refuse to admit it, and they especially refuse to prep. Even if they will admit that hard times are coming, they still will refuse to actually prep. But they will follow the way in their mind, you know, that you are a prepper, And when something happens, they'll be at your house or my house trying to get a free handout, even though they did nothing for themselves. Even though you talked to those people, you tried to reason, and they could see what was going on just as well as you could. However, they made the decision to not do anything. And I think a big reason is that people refuse to prep, even though the need to prep is so blatantly obvious and in their face, is that if they admit that they need to prep, then they admit that their world that they know is going to end. And most people know deep down that things could change, but they want to rely on government to protect them. They want to go blindly forward and refuse to actually do anything for themselves, and they want to rely on the federal government, the state governments, local governments to come in and save them. And in most disasters, especially a long-term HTTF type of disaster, the government is the last person, is the last entity, or the last people that you want to be coming to help you, because when the government comes to help, it means giving up your freedom. It means giving up your rights. It means giving up your family. Any supplies and gear you have, they will take that and redistribute that. When the government comes to help, you're screwed. You need to be able to help yourself. But still yet, most people absolutely refuse to prep because they don't want to admit that things can happen. They want to keep going on blindly and hoping that nothing ever happens. They want to keep on going and spending their money on vacations, spending their money on big screen televisions, spending their money on bass boats and things, and all those things are okay if you had the money extra to buy those things with, and that's what you want, it makes you happy, if you have your preps in order. However, most people are buying that junk and have no preps whatsoever, aren't prepared for even a 3 or 4 day power outage because of a snowstorm like we saw this past winter in Texas. That's another example. People see what happened in Texas, and I guarantee you that very, very few of those people actually took what happened and followed that back in their mind and realized by seeing that and going through that they need to prep. And even fewer people actually went out and got ready for the next big snowstorm or whatever might happen. People sees it, people experience it, and as soon as it's over, they turn a blind eye, go the other way, and refuse to actually prep, refuse to do anything for themselves and their family. What do you think is going on that would cause the vast majority of people, considering the state of the world today, and it's obvious to anyone, like I said, with the brain, anyone paying attention at all, what's going on? And there's so many things going on right now, guys. Right now we're at one of the most dangerous periods since probably 75 years ago or so during World War II. Right now, the world is going through massive changes, governments are going through massive changes, and they want to change the global structure. We have globalists trying to take over. We have an economy that is collapsing. We have the moral society is collapsing. All kinds of things are happening that should be obvious to anyone that does any research at all, and they should see the need to prep, but most people won't. And why do you think that is? Why do you think people refuse to prep? It's a puzzle to me, and I'd like to know what you all think. I think a lot of it, like I said, is just laziness, wanting to put the responsibility off on someone else, want to rely on the government to come and help, and it's just laziness. I think a lot of it is. Well, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. It's really appreciated. Helps the algorithm to find these videos, to help the algorithm send these videos out to more people. So give this video a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, go over to my website, creekmore.com, and check out the articles there. There's over 350 articles published on that website, creekmore.com. Thanks, guys, for watching. Creekmore, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.